Audio check. Testing the audio. Audio check. Testing the audio. Welcome to everybody on YouTube, Facebook. I see you all there. That's good. Glad you're with us. Want to make sure that our audio is good, that you can hear me. Everything's good there. So I'm just looking into the chat. I see folks who are on Facebook who are saying things, although at the moment all I see is I have no sound. Okay, good. Thanks, Sherry. Thanks for letting me know you have the sound. That's great. And then how are we doing on YouTube? Quick check with my audio team. How's my thank you, LPM on YouTube. Thanks very much for letting me know. Tried one level boost. Tech team, what do we think? Audio better with the one level boost, or was I better at the lower level? Please let me know. Okay, all right. With one boost, tech team, I don't know what one level is. Okay, so Chuck says great sound. Okay, perfect. All right, we're going to go ahead and get rolling here. Welcome again. My name's Kyle McCauley. I'm one of the national presenters here at Einstein Retirement Workshops. And you are at our most popular presentation by far. And that is our Social Security Filing Workshop. This is the workshop that has now had couple 100,000 people attend it now. And so we're very honored to continue to do this and carry it on in also this live stream format. We're happy to have you. And this presentation is also just one of our presentations. We also have various other topics that we do on things like taxes and retirement, required minimum distributions and things like that. But this one, far and away, our most popular presentation. We're glad you're here. Once upon a time, we would have done this workshop in a local setting, face-to-face with you, in a library, community center, university, something like that. But we'll just say thank you, COVID, or I don't know. Can you say that? I don't think you can say that. But anyway, we'll keep moving on. We're glad that you're here and we're able to do this in this live stream format. Our agenda for today, we are going to spend a little over an hour on the topic of Social Security at the end of that hour time together. Two things. We will discuss how you can get your Social Security filing workbook. That is something that we will mail you a physical copy. We will send that to you and we'll talk about how you can request that. Again, right at the end of the presentation. And then also what we will do right at the end of the presentation is go into a Q&A portion of our time. So you'll type in your questions into the chat, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. I can highlight those. Let me give you a quick example so you know what I'm talking about. Someone is saying they can hear me on the phone, but not on the laptop. Okay, so just like that, I can highlight your questions and answer those questions, and we'll do that right at the end of the presentation. Okay. Again, my name's Kyle McCauley. In addition to being a national presenter here at Einstein, I'm also the managing partner of City Center Financial. City Center Financial is a retirement planning firm, and I'm also a chartered retirement planning counselor, an accredited portfolio management advisor, and also a national Social Security advisor certified professional. Now, I highlight all this for you, not to do any silly thing like bragging. I actually resisted talking about this for years and years, but the reality is you probably would like to know what my perspective is when I do this presentation. And my perspective is really coming from my experience in working with many folks just like you who are making these types of decisions. Our organization has now helped thousands of folks make high-quality Social Security decisions. So it's our experience that you're going to find this presentation to be very helpful. We're not here to sign you up for Social Security. We're not affiliated with the Social Security Administration, nor are we employed by them. Our job today is to lend you our experience, to lend you our expertise in this arena so that you can feel good about the decisions you make around Social Security. Our firm, City Center Advisors, is a registered investment advisory firm, and that's how we're able to give you this advice. Why is Social Security such a hot topic? Why are all of you here? Why have we had hundreds of thousands of people now register to attend one of our events? Well, it's a hot topic. Every day, about 10,000 new folks are qualifying for benefits. It's about 70,000 a week, 280,000 a month, 3.64 million new folks on an annual basis are qualifying for benefits like Social Security and Medicare. And so, many of you fall into that group, I'm sure. And not only are you part of this group that is doing this now, but you've got, probably younger siblings and that sort of thing. But 13 years this is going to continue. So that seems like a lot of people, right? A lot of people who were used to working and paying taxes into this system who are now retiring and pulling dollars out of the system. So it brings up issues and concerns, things like insolvency. Is there going to be a benefit for me? And I don't mean me, I mean you, but I certainly wonder for me sometimes. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about insolvency and certainly deal with that. But in terms of what these benefits will do for you, it's important to remember that right now 65% of middle-income Americans derive more than 50% of their retirement income from their Social Security benefits. Now that is true on two different fronts. The first one is, obviously for those of you who maybe haven't done as great a job of putting away the other forms of retirement income, accumulating pensions or putting dollars in 401k plans and that sort of thing. If you haven't done that, then obviously Social Security is going to be a big backbone piece to your retirement planning needs. But even for those of you who've put dollars in various types of investment accounts or gotten rental income or accumulated a pension, even for you, Social Security is probably going to make up a very large percentage of your retirement income, and very likely it could be more than 50%. You see, it's not uncommon for a married couple, for example, between the two of you to have certainly more than $40,000, but $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 or more in combined Social Security benefits once you turn those benefits on. And, that's a surprising amount on two fronts. One, I think if we were in a room together, I've done this live enough to know that if I asked for a show of hands, who's ever heard don't plan on Social Security, probably every one of you would raise your hand. And except for those of you who are obstinate and don't raise your hand to anything. So you know who you are. But except for you, everybody else probably is going to put their hand in the air and say, yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that I shouldn't count on Social Security. Well, hey, the benefits are still here. And frankly, in many cases, they can be quite good, quite sizable amounts. Also, one of the reasons why Social Security has become such a big backbone piece to your retirement strategies and income is because pension benefits going away, eliminated. We've seen pension benefits get frozen. You may even have something like that. Unfortunately, we have seen some pension benefits where the benefits are actually reduced after people started their payments. And so pensions in trouble certainly has elevated the importance of those Social Security dollars. Lastly, 46% of Americans today pass away with less than $10,000 to their name. That statistic is not there to frighten you, but what it is there for is to remind us of one of the critical cornerstone features of your Social Security benefits. If you were to ask yourself, do you insure all the important things in your life, especially financial things, you probably say yes, right? Do you insure your house? Yeah. How about your car? Absolutely. Health? You bet. Do I insure my retirement? The answer is probably yes. Okay? For most of you, Social Security is, when framed in properly into a retirement plan, the right way to think about Social Security is as retirement income insurance, or you could say longevity insurance. Because these dollars are going to pay to you no matter how long you live. So even if you're this person passing away with less than $10,000 to your name, so long as you qualified for a Social Security benefit, those benefits are going to continue to pay to you no matter how long you live. Now, that could be kind of important these days because, frankly, living a lot longer, you got to remember that as you age, your life expectancy goes up. If you're a married couple, age 65, gentlemen, your life expectancy is actually 92. Ladies, same situation, your life expectancy, 97. My grandparents are a good example of this. If you had asked my granddaddy in his 70s, hey, granddaddy, you think you'll live to 92? He would have smiled and said, I don't think so. Now, you might go, well, I don't think I'm going to live to 92, but I guess I could. So why didn't he think he could live to 92? Because that's when he died. He died last year in December, not COVID, just old age, at the age of 92. But why would it have been so surprising for him? And it would have. You would say, I don't think he's going to make it. And the reason is he had 4 heart attacks and 3 bypass surgeries before the age of 70. Excuse me, 75. His last one was 73. So before the age of 75. So, medical technology, frankly, okay, maybe my granny kicking him in the rear a little bit, okay? She's still going, by the way. She's 92 this year, and we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised at all if she makes it to 97. But yeah, I mean, between medical technology and people's education about health and that sort of thing and the stuff that people do, very likely you may live much longer than you're thinking. So there again, no matter how long you live, Social Security becomes part of that backbone component to your retirement income and retirement planning needs as you age. I don't know if you can make it as long as this gal, Kane Tanaka, currently the oldest living person. She's 118 years old. She'll turn 119 in January. We'll see. She makes it. But she's currently the oldest living person. She's from Japan. And interestingly, of the last 5 oldest living people, 4 of them were from Japan. So, I just like to make sure that if you're thinking about doing any relocating, you might want to consider Japan. All right, we're going to talk about some basics about how your benefits work, how they're calculated. We'll talk about strategies for those of you who are married, options that those of you who are divorced have, options for those of you who are widowed. And if you fall asleep somewhere in the middle, please do wake up in time for taxes. I can tell you, okay, or if you're single and you're going, hey, where's my name on the list? Okay, single folks, especially because of the single filer tax code, you got to pay attention to that part. Okay, I can tell you that, again, our organization has helped thousands of folks make these decisions. And if there is one single item that will take 2 strategies that, kind of look mostly the same and says, hey, nope, this one's no good, we got to file like this, it is going to be taxes. So I want to make sure we spend a good amount of time on that for you here today. Basics about how your Social Security benefits work, how they're calculated. In order to qualify for a Social Security benefit, you need to have 10 years worth of work, or more specifically, 40 credits. 40 credits are earned by having substantial earnings in a calendar quarter. So you can earn up to 4 credits per year, works out to 10 years worth of work. If you're not sure if you've qualified yet, you can log into ssa.gov, create a profile, and in that portal, what you'll see are green bars that go across with a green check at the end, unless you don't have the green check. If there's no green check, you haven't hit the 40 credits yet. If there's a green check, you're good, you've qualified for a benefit. The way your benefit is calculated once you've qualified for a benefit is by having the highest 35 years of indexed, lost my word there for a second, the highest 35 years of indexed earnings will be used to calculate your benefit. A few things about that. Number 1, it's not the most consecutive 35 years. It's not the most recent 35 years. It's the highest 35 years no matter when they occurred. So it could be, 10 years working, 5 years off, another 25. That's all fine, okay? It doesn't matter. The gap in your income doesn't make any difference. The highest 35 years, no matter when those years occurred. Now, if you were to look at page 3 of your Social Security statement, what you would see there is an indexing table that shows all of the, earnings history table, which shows all of the years of income that you've paid taxes on into the Social Security system. When you see those numbers, what Social Security does with those numbers is they put them on an indexing table. In the Social Security filing workbook that we're going to mail you a physical copy of, what you would do is you would take those earnings years, put them on your indexing table in your workbook, and then you would see that you need to multiply it by different multiples depending on the year that in question. A good example of this would be like 1980. If you earned $20,000 in 1980 and you wanted to know how does Social Security view those dollars in terms of your benefit calculation today, what you would do is you'd take $20,000 and you'd multiply it by 4 and change to equal more than $80,000 in today's dollars. And so when Social Security uses that $20,000, they're counting it as $80,000 for your benefit calculation. Some people mistakenly assume that just because you're working today necessitates that your Social Security benefits going up in the future. Not necessarily. If my lowest income in the past is $20,000 in 1980, worth $80,000 today, but I'm earning $60,000 this year, that $60,000 is not replacing the $20,000 in 1980. So just because you're working today does not necessarily mean you're increasing your benefit for the future. You're not decreasing your benefit, but it's just not helping you necessarily. Okay, you have to replace a lower income year in the past in order for your work today to increase your benefit for the future. Now, what happens if you don't have all 35 years? In that scenario, what will happen is Social Security, let's say you have 25 years, will take those 25 years, index them for inflation, and then they'll add in 10 zeros when they calculate your benefit. So in that circumstance, any additional income that you're earning today is replacing a zero in the past and should have a pretty good size impact for increasing your benefit down the road. There is one main reason why you could see your Social Security benefit reduced. And it always applies whenever you would have a non-covered pension. A non-covered pension is a pension that you earned while you were not paying any taxes into the Social Security system. If you have a pension like that, you would know by looking at your Social Security statement, again on page 3, you would see zeros in the years that you were earning that pension. If you have that non-covered pension, there are 2 provisions you must be concerned about. The first one is the Windfall Elimination Provision, WEP. This applies whenever you have a non-covered pension, you're receiving benefits, and then you also go to file for Social Security benefits of your own that you have. You qualified for Social Security, say from another job. Well, when you go to file for Social Security, depending on the years of substantial earnings that you have, your Social Security benefit will be reduced. And it's a fairly complicated calculation, but it is in your workbook. If this applies to you, the calculations for this are in your workbook. The WEP cannot reduce Social Security to zero. You're always going to get something. Now, there is a time where a non-covered pension could reduce Social Security benefits that you're entitled to zero. Let me explain that one. Easier calculation. If you have a Social Security benefit that is a spousal benefit or a divorced spouse benefit, and you have that non-covered pension, and you try to file for both at the same time, 2/3 of your pension counts against the Social Security, and if that reduces it to a negative number or to zero, then you get nothing, okay? So that one's a little bit easier, but if you need refreshing on it, That's also in your workbook, that calculation. Okay, I think you know this, but if you don't, you've paid a lot of money into Social Security. 6.2% of your pay has been going into this system over the last 10, 20, 30, 40, however many years you've been working. Your employer paid the other half of that for a total of 12.4% of your pay. Unless you were self-employed, of course, and then you got to pay both. Now, if you could imagine for a minute, 12.4% of your pay in an account somewhere with your name on it over the last 20, 30, accumulating over all those years, however many years you've been working, that would probably be a good sum of dollars. And if you applied any amount of interest to it, it might be a heck of a big pile of dollars. So, look, maybe I'm preaching to the choir because you're here. It's worth doing planning to get what you can out of this system. This is an entitlement program in the correct sense. You are absolutely entitled to these benefits. You have paid for them. Now, unfortunately, the system doesn't work like I just described. It's not as if you have an account with your name on it and your money in it. We are on a pay-as-we-go system, meaning dollars flowing into the system right now are leaving right now to pay current recipients. We're fully funded on this plan through the year 2035. After that, we're funded for roughly 75 cents on the dollar thereafter. Don't worry, this is not the first time Social Security has been broke. It's been broke many times before. And they always fix it, right? They fix it. How do they fix Social Security? Well, you know this if you think about it for a second. The way that you would know this is you'd say, okay, what was my parents' full retirement age? Probably all of your parents had a full retirement age of 65. Well, what's up with that? The oldest of you have a full retirement age of 66. There's a big group of you that have a full retirement age of 66 and some number of months, 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, 10, whatever it is, okay? And then there's another big group of you, this is a growing group in this workshop, that have a full retirement age of 67. So, what gives? Why did that happen? Well, that was part of fixing Social Security, okay? That move from 65 to 66 to 67 was a fix to the system. So they're going to do that again, some version of that. But once you hit the age of 55, you can count on your benefits as you're expecting them. Before that, though, before you reach the age of 55, so your kids and grandkids most likely, yeah, they're probably not going to see the same Social Security system that you have. Okay, very likely they will do something like increasing the minimum filing age, pushing the maximum filing age up, maybe even increasing full retirement age again. Increasing taxes, as I'm sure you can all imagine, is not too popular, but it seems to be more and more popular with the young people, so maybe. I'm a young people, I think. I don't know if I'm still young people, but I'll fire a shot across that bow. All right, so they'll fix it, okay? But it's going to affect your children and grandchildren, not you, okay? And I can say that with a lot of confidence. Now, I know that many of you do have a full retirement age of 66 and some number of months. So just for ease of explanation, though, we're going to assume a minute that everyone here has a full retirement age of 66. If you file for your benefits at your full retirement age, what you're eligible for is 100% of your primary insurance amount, or PIA. That primary insurance amount is estimated for you on the very front page of your Social Security statement. That big bold number in the upper right corner is your estimated primary insurance amount. If you file for benefits at your full retirement age, you're eligible to receive 100% of that primary insurance amount. So if that number said $2,000 and you filed at your full retirement age, you should receive $2,000. You are eligible to file for benefits early if you would like. You can file as early as the age of 62, but it will be a reduced amount. A benefit filed at 62 is reduced by 25%, turning that $2,000 into $1,500. $500. If you would like to delay past full retirement age, you may do so and be rewarded at a rate of 8% simple interest per year in delayed retirement credits from your full retirement age till as late as age 70. So that $2,000 a month benefit, there again, if you delay till 70, you could turn it into $2,640, 132%. There are actually three distinct benefits you could file for. The first one is a retired workers benefit. That's the benefit you're entitled to based upon your own work history. Spousal benefits are benefits you're entitled to based upon a spouse's work history or an ex-spouse's work history. Widow or survivor benefits are benefits you're entitled to based upon a deceased spouse's work history or a deceased ex-spouse's work history. The last time Social Security law was changed was in October of 2015, and basically what they did is they took away all the fun stuff. Okay, so if you ever heard about file and suspend, get a lump sum check, any of that stuff, well, it's pretty much all gone. Okay, one exception to that, if you were born before January 2nd of 1954 and you've not yet filed for a benefit and you have access to a spousal or ex-spousal benefit, you can file a restricted application, start with that spousal benefit, and switch to your own at a later date. This group is rapidly diminishing. So I won't spend more time on it now, but if you have a question, feel free in the Q&A. Okay, for that group as well as everyone else, there's really just a couple of things to keep in mind in terms of filing strategies around your benefits. If you file for Social Security, and for any reason, at any time, you say, hey, wait a second, I don't need these dollars right now. And you can suspend benefits. Okay, you tell Social Security, stop paying me, put a pause, suspend my benefits. You're allowed to suspend benefits at any time for any reason. If you're older than 70, don't suspend benefits. There's no benefit to you. If you're younger than 70, though, and you suspend benefits, from the point at which you suspend, you stop receiving a check, to when you file again in the future, as late as age 70, you will receive any increases that you're entitled to. So if I say I'm laid off from my job, I'm 64 years old, I say, well, wasn't planning to retire, but I guess I'm retired now. I go file for Social Security. I start receiving checks. And then a friend of a friend who knows somebody, they say, hey, we got a job. We think you'd be good for it. And say, okay, sure. Let me take a look. Looks good. I'll take it. Now I have employment income. I also have Social Security. I don't really need Social Security. Well, I could suspend those benefits, stop receiving them, and then from that point of suspension till I file down the road again, maybe at retirement, I can earn increases that I was entitled to. Now, if I was within the first 365 days from when I filed, I can only one time rescind my application. Rescinding your application does this. Tell Social Security, stop paying me dollars. They will stop. Then you say, I'd like to reset my benefits as though I never filed. They'll say, sure, that's rescinding. You'll say, great. Anything else? They'll say, yes. Pay us back the money we've paid you so far. Okay? So 2 or 3 checks, maybe it's not too big a deal if you've been receiving more than that. But the point is whatever they've paid you, you have to pay them back in order for them to reset your benefits as though you never filed. Okay. Let's talk about spousal benefits. In order to qualify for a spousal benefit, you need to have been married for at least 1 year. In addition, the spouse that you're filing your spousal benefit from has to have filed their benefit for the spousal to be available. It's called deemed filing. So if my wife has a $2,000 a month benefit and I have nothing, and I want to file a spousal, I have to wait for her to file before I can. Okay? Generally, I can't qualify for a benefit of my own that's more than 50% of hers. So if hers is $2,000 and I have $1,200, $1,200 is more than half of $2,000, and so I'm just going to file my own. I don't get some of mine and some of hers, none of that stuff. Okay? Also, it's 50% of your spouse's primary insurance amount, not the benefit amount. So if John's primary insurance amount at his full retirement age is $2,000, Jane at her full retirement age is eligible for $1,000. But if Jane files early, she doesn't get half of John's. She gets half of John's reduced by her age of filing. Now, spousal benefits reduce at a faster schedule when filing early. So if I file my own $1,000 a month benefit at my full retirement age, I get $1,000. If I file it as a spousal at my full retirement age, I get $1,000. But if I file it at 62, on my own I get $750, but if it's not my own, it's a spousal, I only get $700. So if you want to think about it like extra penalties for spouses who file early, maybe that's a fair way to say it. Also, no delayed retirement credits for spouses to delay. So if my own benefit is $1,000 and I delay till 70, I can get $1,320. But if it's a spousal benefit that I have and I delay till 70, it didn't do me any good. I still only get $1,000. Okay, so no incentives for spouses to delay past full retirement age if that spousal is higher than your own. Okay, for my married couples, when one of you passes away, only one benefit remains, and it's always the higher of the two. So if my wife passes away, she has a $2,000 a month benefit, I have $1,000. I say goodbye to my $1,000, I keep her $2,000. If I pass away, I take my $1,000 with me, she keeps her $2,000. Only one benefit remains, it's always the higher of the two. Now the only caveat to this is the 82.5% rule. The 82.5% rule says that if my wife had filed early at 62, she's only getting $1,500, okay, 75%. If she predeceases me, I'm going to get a bump up to 82.5% instead of 75, so $1,500 turns into $1,650. Two most common mistakes we see married couples making. Number one, higher wage earner files early. Why would that be a mistake? Well, remember, when you frame in these Social Security benefits, how do they fit into your retirement plan? Retirement income insurance, or there again we could say longevity insurance. When you're married, not just for you and your spouse. So that higher wage earner is going to have the survivor's benefit, and so generally we want that survivor's benefit to be as high as it reasonably can be. And so if anyone's going to do any kind of delaying, it's going to be that higher wage earner, so that you do not shortchange a surviving spouse should, unfortunately, one of you pass away very young and maybe the other of you lives a good old age. Okay, it could be a long time with just one Social Security check. So generally speaking, if anyone's going to do any delaying, it's going to be that higher wage earner. Second most common mistake we see married couples making, both of you delay past full retirement age. Why is that a mistake? Well, this is less obvious, but it comes from our experience in helping now thousands of folks make this decision. And we can just tell you that from our experience, when you start factoring in coordination with other retirement assets, taxes especially, it's almost always going to work out best for one spouse to file early to some degree or another, and one spouse to delay to some degree or another. Okay? All right. Let's talk about divorced spouse benefits. In order to qualify for a divorced spouse benefit, you need to have been married for 10 years in a row to the same person. Married 5 years, divorced. Remarried 7 years, divorced. 5 plus 7 does not equal 12. One of those two stints has to last at least 10 years in order for those divorced spouse benefits to be available. So I'm quite aware that none of you joined this meeting today to get marriage counseling. But, if you need a reason to hang on, there you go. All right. You may not be currently married. If you had a marriage that lasted more than 10 years and you're thinking, gosh, I'd like to file off of their benefits, but you've remarried. Just say goodbye to those divorced spouse benefits. You're just dealing with your own or your new spousal benefits. Same benefit amounts in terms of extra penalties for filing early, as well as no delayed retirement credits for delaying, apply to divorced spouse benefits, as did also those spousal benefits. Last bullet point here. You are independently entitled. This is the major difference between spousal and ex-spousal benefits. So long as you have been divorced for at least 2 years, you pick up what is known as independently entitled. So earlier I mentioned that in order for me to file a spousal benefit, my spouse that I'm filing off of has to file theirs. But if I've been divorced for 2 years, I can file regardless of whether or not my spouse has filed yet. Okay, if you were born before January 2nd of 1954, and you have not yet filed for a Social Security benefit, and you had a marriage that lasted more than 10 years, the restricted application could be particularly advantageous to you. Now, one goofy thing about divorced spouse benefits. If you had a marriage that lasted more than 10 years, and you have the potential for an ex-spousal benefit, but you also have your own benefit, say you turn 62, you file for your own benefit. A couple of years go by because your spouse is younger, and then they hit 62, and their spousal is more than yours, you could switch. And as many 10-year marriages like that as you can fit into your lifetime, you could switch again, okay? Just as you got to fit that situation in, but it's allowed. Okay, common questions from those who are divorced. I'm divorced. My ex is going to file off of me. Am I going to know that they've, or are they going to, is that going to affect me somehow, or am I going to know? No, okay? It does not affect you. I'm divorced, and I've remarried. My ex is going to file off of me. My new spouse is going to file off of me. Are their benefits going to affect each other? No, they will not. I'm divorced, and I've managed to fit a few 10-year marriages into my lifetime, and I've remarried, and I'm going to die young. No. Kidding. Okay. All right. Yes, it's allowed. Okay. All these people can file off of your work history. The new spouse can file. It's allowed. And yes, if you do die young, they can all get widow benefits. That is how it works. Okay. Last one. I'm divorced. I'm going to file off of my ex's work history. Are they going to know that I've done that? No. Okay. Doesn't affect them. If they have other spouses, it doesn't matter. Okay, the only way they would know is if you told them. Let's talk about widow benefits. Widows are a special group. They are the only group of people who can file for benefits as early as the age of 60. In order to qualify for a widow benefit at the age of 60, obviously you must be widowed, but assuming you were widowed prior to reaching 60, you must remain unmarried until you turn 60. So long as you remain unmarried, you'll have access to those widow benefits. Now, one of the first workshops that I ever did, a gal in the back of the room during the Q&A raised her hand and said, yeah, so it sounds like I need to delay the wedding. Of course, room full of people, we all had a good chuckle about that. But actually, in fact, it was kind of a big deal to her. To give you the situation, this was a June workshop. The wedding was coming up in September. If she remarried, she was still 59 years of age. Her birthday was not until March of the following year. So she remarries in September. No more widow benefits. She can't file for anything next year in March because you have to remain unmarried. So no widow benefits available. That means she's only dealing with her own benefits, earliest age is 62. Or the new spousal benefit, again, spousal, earliest age 62. So she's got to wait 2 more years to get access to benefits, and her widow benefit, just under $2,000 a month. The higher of the two between her own and the new spousal, just under $1,500. So, not a good deal. I have to wait 2 years to get $500 a month less. So, yeah, we did recommend she might want to delay the wedding. I'm a religious person, so I think this is funny. You could decide how you feel about it. She did go to her priest and said, so can we just, do the religious part of this ceremony and sign stuff later? And her priest said, no, no, no. I said, there's another priest. I'm sure somebody will do this for you. But she's very devout. The wedding was delayed. All right. Last bullet point here about widow benefits. In order for widow benefits to be available, you must have been married a minimum of 9 months. However, minimum of 9 months prior to their death. Okay. However, special exceptions apply. This is not here to hurt people. This provision is in here for one purpose and one purpose only, to prevent deathbed marriages. Okay. So as long as you can prove that it wasn't a known cause or some expected reason why they would be passing, then you can get widow benefits reopened. Only real life example I've run into with this, so it's not too common. But gal was married later in life. Husband was in the armed forces. He was shipped overseas, killed in action. They'd been married just less than 6 months. She assumed, okay, because of this rule, that no widow benefits available, but okay, it wasn't as though he had a terminal illness, so all we had to do was submit proper documentation, and her widow benefits were reopened. Okay, John never elected for benefits. Another widow case study here. We never met John. He died at the age of 64. His benefit at his full retirement age would have been $2,150. Jane, who's 5 years younger than John, was 59 when John died. We met her at the age of 60, and she had remained unmarried. She's attending our workshop trying to figure out what in the heck should I do about these widow benefits. Jane does have her own work history, which would entitle her to a benefit beginning at 62 of $1,197 a month. So what should Jane do? Well, unfortunately, we would see Jane maybe very commonly just start with the widow benefits and file right away and get it going, right? She's 60 years old. She can file for widow. $1,537 a month is what she was entitled to. Okay, that's John's benefit reduced. Okay, widow benefits are reduced if you file that early. And so if she files that, she'd collect that till her age 85. She passes away. Total lifetime benefits, $461,000. Now, the real Jane was still working. So we're going to talk about the earnings test in just a second. So hang with me. But real Jane, it just didn't work out. She couldn't really file for benefits strategically. Okay. So she's going to work 2 more years. That's her plan. John just passed away. She doesn't want to make any big changes. She's going to work a couple more years. She works till 62. And then at 62, she actually starts with her own benefit, $1,197, collects that through age 66, and then at her full retirement age, she will switch to her maximized widow benefit. Widow benefits maximized at full retirement age, $2,150, collecting that through age 85. And in that scenario, she's getting $77,000 more over her lifetime for understanding her benefits and options and taking advantage of them. Now, if Jane was ready to retire, she could go ahead and start with the widow benefits. Maybe she even needs to, right? John passed away. She could use the income. So she files right away. But she should not forget about her own benefit. Her own benefit increased to full retirement age, delayed retirement credits all the way till 70, turns $1,197 into $2,108 by age 70, her full maximized benefit. So she switches at 70, from 70 to age 85. There again, she passes away at 85, and $563,000, more than $100,000 more over her lifetime, simply for understanding her options and taking advantage of her benefits. Now, I'm often struck by these numbers, $400,000 or $500,000. Not uncommon for us to see single folks over $1 million, married couples certainly over $1 million. If you apply any cost of living, over $2 million in lifetime benefits is not hard to come by. So, I point that out, and maybe I'm preaching to the choir again because you're here, but these are big decisions, right? I mean, for many of us, this may be one of the single biggest financial decisions that we ever make. So look, it's worth taking seriously. It's worth doing the planning, and I'm glad you're here, right? Because that's why we're doing this. All right. Earnings test. If you would like to work, have earned income, W-2, 1099, or self-employment, and collect Social Security at the same time, it is allowed. Once you reach your full retirement age, you can work, earn any amount with no problem. Collect your earnings, collect your Social Security, fine. Got to pay taxes, but other than that, totally fine. Here's the catch though. If you are younger than your full retirement age, you must deal with the earnings test. The earnings test says that whenever you file for Social Security prior to reaching your full retirement age, you have a limit as to how much Social Security doesn't care about for your earned income. Okay, it's an exclusion. They don't care about the first $18,960 that you earn. But the minute you earn more than $18,960, Social Security starts caring. How much do they care? They care about $1 for every 2 that you earn above the limit. Let's give an example I think will help illustrate this. Let's say you have an earned income of $58,960. Seems like an odd number, but the math is easy and you'll see that. $58,960 minus $18,960, which is the amount Social Security doesn't care about, leaves us with $40,000 above the limit. Again, Social Security cares about $1 for every 2 above the limit, so we chop it in half. You are ineligible to receive $20,000 from Social Security if you go to file for benefits prior to reaching your full retirement age and you have a salary of $58,960. Okay? $20,000 ineligible for. So, if the benefit you're filing for is a $2,000 benefit, $2,000 goes into $20,000 10 times, meaning you will not receive a check in January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Then you'll receive a $2,000 check in November and a $2,000 check in December. Some people mistakenly assume that when you go over these limits, they'll just reduce what you get, but you still get paid all year. No. Social Security simply will not pay you anything until you have paid back what you are ineligible to receive. Now, right side of the chart. In the year that you turn your full retirement age, but before you turn your full retirement age, your earnings test goes up to $50,520, and it's a 1 for 3. This almost never applies to anyone, so let's move on. Let's talk about taxes, the fun stuff. Taxes is not fun when it comes to well, it's not fun at all, let's be honest. But when it comes to Social Security, taxes is especially painful. Why do I say that? Well, when it comes to how your taxes are calculated on Social Security, the calculations are, needlessly complicated, I guess you could say. First way you can be cued into that is this is a screen capture of publication, front page of publication 915. I don't know if you can see it, but this is a 33-page document. Why 33 pages? Well, because it takes that many to tell you everything you could possibly want to know about how you'll pay taxes on Social Security. Now, there are some, maybe this is a little tongue-in-cheek, helpful things in this 33 pages. One of them is this worksheet. Now, it was helpful to me, but if you're not so mathematically inclined, maybe it'll be less helpful to you. But worksheet 1 details out for you the 19-step process that you must go through to determine how much tax you will owe on your Social Security benefits. Why 19 steps? Well, okay, there again. They made it just a little needlessly complicated. Don't worry, we're not going to now go through all 19 steps, okay? Now, some of you are starting to sweat. But we're not going to do that. What we are going to do is we are going to cover some things that we think will give you a good insight into how this tax business on Social Security works and some things that we think you should be paying attention to. Line 1 on this worksheet is where you would put what is known as your provisional income. Your provisional income is the number that is used by all these other steps to determine how much of your Social Security benefit is going to be subject to taxation. If you are single and your provisional income number is more than $25,000, you start paying taxes on Social Security. Married couples, if your provisional income is over $32,000, you start paying taxes on Social Security. So you know the limits. You know the word provisional, but what the heck is provisional income? So let's do a little mental calculation. Here's what's provisional income, okay? All the sources of income that you have, no matter where they come from. Earned income, W-2, 1099, K-1s, dividend income, interest income, all the sources, capital gains, long and short, doesn't matter. All the sources of income that you have, plus 50% of the Social Security benefits that you're receiving. Well, okay, that one doesn't seem so fair. Wait a second, didn't I already pay taxes to get Social Security? Yeah, well, okay, that's how it works. I'm sorry. And then the third one is even non-taxable interest. So for those of you who have municipal bonds and you're trying to get your tax burden down, yeah, you know, the IRS, they find their way into just about everything. So yes, even your municipal bond interest income will count towards your provisional, which can cause Social Security to become taxable. Now, if you go above $25,000, you start paying taxes, but if you go over $34,000, single folks, you will be taxed on up to 85% of your benefits. Married couples, again, $32,000, you start paying taxes. But if you go above $44,000 in provisional income, you could be paying tax on up to 85% of your benefits. The question is, how much tax? Right? So this is where it gets a little complicated. So let's take a hypothetical scenario, and I think this will help elucidate the hurdle. You're cruising along through retirement. You're enjoying things. You got some Social Security benefits coming to you. You have some withdrawals from your 401k or IRA accounts coming to you. Everything's going well. Okay, you're doing fine. But you know, with the COVID and the Delta and you know, you've got some bucket list items. You've got some travel plans you want to do. You know, you've been thinking about this, and Lord knows it's time to go, right? Okay, we got to get out there and do some stuff. So you know, you start booking some trips, right? You've got some things lined up, and you're thinking, gosh, yeah, I'd really like to get some of these dollars spent. I worked hard. I saved this money. I'd like to enjoy it. So you talk to your loved one or a spouse, a friend, you know, someone that you do some traveling with. You say, hey, I'd like to go on a trip. What do you think? And they say, great, looks good. I like that idea. And so you budget everything out. You figure out how much you're going to spend, and it's going to be, you know, not ridiculous, but you'll enjoy things. You'll have a good time. You're going to spend $10,000. Okay, you're going to spend $10,000 on this trip. Well, you don't just have that lying around, but you have different accounts, and so you look, you survey your accounts. Where am I going to pull my $10,000 from? And you see, well, 401k is looking good. It's grown. It's my largest account. It's done well. What did I save all that money for? I saved it for me. So you say, well, I'll pull it from there. You call up your 401k plan. Hello, I'd like to take $10,000, please. They say, no problem. And then they ask you a very important question. How much tax would you like to have withheld? Oh yeah, right, tax. Yeah, no problem. Good. I knew that was coming. Okay, so you go, you take a look, and you say, okay, maybe you look at an old tax return, or you had just happened to know you're in the 12% tax bracket, right? 12%. So you get back on the phone. Yes, I'd like to withhold 12%, please. No problem. They withhold 12%. They send you your money. You go on your trip. Everything's great. And then we're in March of next year, and you are punching it into TurboTax or H&R Block Tax, or you call your accountant, or whatever it is, okay, however you're doing your tax return. But whatever you're doing, TurboTax, your accountant calls you up, whatever's happening, you owe money. What do you mean? I never owe money. I always withhold enough. How did this happen? I don't know. No, I always pay enough tax. I always get a little refund. I like that. $300, if I'm lucky. Okay, get it down. I don't want to give the government a loan. All right, so the point is you owe tax. They're right. You do owe the tax. But what happened? How did that? You were in the 12% tax bracket. That part was right. How did this get screwed up? What you didn't realize when you took your $10,000 distribution was that you added taxes to Social Security. You were above these limits. And when you're above these limits and you add additional ordinary income, that's a withdrawal from a 401k, you add taxes to Social Security. 10,000 at 12% plus another 10,000 at 12%. Effective tax rate 24%. 12 plus 12, 24. You didn't get more money from Social Security, you just added taxes. So unfortunately, TurboTax is not broken. Now, that's no fun, nobody likes it, right? Okay, we move on, but you're not going to make that mistake again. However, unfortunately, we see many folks who are beelined for what I'll call the bad one. The first one's not the bad one. The bad one goes like this. You are cruising along through retirement. Everything's doing well. You're enjoying life. You're enjoying things. Your family. You're doing some travel. You're having a good time. And then you wake up one day and you are 72. Happy birthday. And it's time to pull dollars from your 401k and IRA types of accounts. Wait, what do you mean it's time to pull? What was it? At 72, you pick up what is known as a required minimum distribution. A required minimum distribution is indicative of the fact that the IRS gave you a break for a long time, right? You put the money in the 401k, no taxes. You got the employer match, no taxes. The money has grown, no taxes. So the day of reckoning is age 72. Okay, I actually had a client of mine say that they went on a calendar for their 72nd birthday and wrote the day of reckoning. So anyway, so the point is when you hit 72, you must pull from those 401k and IRA accounts. And if you're like many people, you get into retirement thinking, gosh, I want to make sure I don't run out of money. I want to make sure I don't become a burden to my family. I want to make sure I can take care of myself no matter how long I live. I want to make sure I've saved enough to enjoy retirement but not spend frivolously. And so you do a lot of stuff, right? You pay off the mortgages, you get rid of the car loans, you get your spending down into a reasonable level so that you don't put too much pressure on your investments so that you can live a good long life and still have money. But that has a side effect because if you're not pulling that much from your investment accounts, well, good grief, that account keeps growing. It's done well. It's gone up. And now I'm 72 and this account's gotten quite large, which means that required minimum distribution is also quite large. And so when you take that distribution and you're above these limits and you add a large sizable amount of Social Security that has become taxable and whoops, it's not 12 and 12 is 24 anymore. You're in the 22% tax bracket now. Now it's 22 and 22 is 44. These are the kinds of tax mistakes that we believe you should go out of your way to dodge as much as possible. Let's look at a case study that highlights how this works and how some planning can really make a big difference. Clients are 64 and 62. They have just over $34,000 in combined Social Security benefits. okay, if they file early on. They're going to start their retirement with $752,000 in 401k and IRA types of accounts. They will be able to earn on those accounts an average return of about 6%, and they will spend $70,000 a year to enjoy their retirement, increasing that by 3% to keep up with inflation. They'll live to 86 and 89 respectively. There are three groups of you who are hearing me describe this scenario. The first group of you is saying, okay, tweak this number, look close, modify that a little bit, but pretty close, right? So for those of you who are saying, yes, maybe modify a little bit, that's pretty close to me. Okay, obviously this example is going to be very meaningful to you, so just hang tight, okay? We'll get right into it. There's another group of you who's looking at this and saying, 752,000? What happened? Didn't they have any kids? Okay. So look, if you're looking at that and you're saying, gosh, wow, I wish I had that much. Okay, then look, I need you to pay attention because this couple with $752,000 has a running out of money problem. And we are going to show how a change in their Social Security strategy will fix it. There's a third group of you who's saying, yeah, I knew that, Kyle. I knew you were going to say they're going to run out of money. 750, they haven't saved enough. No, they got to keep working. They're not ready to retire. So look, if you're in that group and you're saying, gosh, they didn't save enough, they got to keep going, then I need you to pay attention because this couple with only $752,000 has a tax problem. Believe it or not, we're going to use Social Security to help fix it. Let's go into it. If this couple files Social Security early, the blue lines are covering roughly about half of their income need in those early years. The orange lines are the withdrawals out of the 401k, covering the other half of their income. The red line is the line that they need to hit to increasing with inflation their income target. The amount of the orange line above the red line is the amount that they are paying in taxes. Because of that double taxation process I described a moment ago, you'll notice correctly that the amount of the orange line above the red line is not increasing linearly, it's increasing exponentially. The reason that this happens is because as they pull out more and more from their investment accounts to keep up with inflation, it's doubling up on the tax exposure and pushing them higher and higher. Unfortunately, it causes them to put so much pressure on their portfolio that they run out of money 14 years too soon. The only change between this slide and the next slide is a change in the Social Security filing strategy. Many folks can benefit from advanced tax planning, things like Roth conversions, restructuring investment accounts, generating different types of income from those accounts. Okay, tax planning can be a very big deal. However, we want to emphasize and make sure that you have a very good understanding of just how important Social Security is as a tax strategy, that we're not going to do any of the advanced stuff. The only change between this one and the next slide is that Social Security filing strategy change. Look at what kind of difference it makes. If this couple will use an optimized Social Security filing strategy, in these early years, they do pull all of their income from their 401k plans. However, once they reach their Social Security filing ages, they trigger those benefits, Social Security kicks in and covers a very large percentage of their retirement income, drastically reducing how much pressure they're putting on their portfolio. That's number one. Number two is Social Security is actually tax advantageous. I know I've been beating it up for all the bad stuff about it, but in truth, Social Security is a great optimizer for tax planning so long as you manage the sources of other income that you have. by reducing the pressure on their portfolio and reducing the withdrawals out of the 401k, they're paying very little in taxes. The orange line's above the red line. I don't know if you can see it there. There's a little bit, but not much. It's not uncommon when we do pre-planning for folks to get them into a position where they could be paying very little and sometimes even no taxes once they trigger those Social Security benefits on. Now, as we look over the course of their retirement, because they took all that pressure off their portfolio now lasts their whole lifetime. If we compare the taxes side by side, you'll see that the blue line's an optimized strategy. Yes, they pay a little more in taxes in those early years when they're funding their retirement entirely from 401k withdrawals. But look at all the excess taxes, the orange lines above the blue, that are being paid simply for filing Social Security early. Now eventually, orange lines go away, they stop paying taxes, but they're broke, so it's not a good deal. All right. They get $186,000 more out of Social Security by optimizing their strategy. Their portfolio lasts 14 more years, and they pay about $35,000 less in taxes over their lifetime, even though they weren't paying any taxes for 14 years when they ran out by filing early. So pretty good win across the board. A couple of quick things about your Social Security statement. Your Social Security statement is a snapshot in time. No future cost of living adjustments are applied to that statement. It assumes that you work all the way until 62, retire, file immediately. Or all the way until full retirement age, retire, file immediately. Or all the way until 70, retire, file immediately. What's not on your statement is, what if I work till 65, retire, take Medicare, but delay Social Security a few years? Yeah, the statement could be a little off. It's your work history only, no spousal coordination, no widow coordination, and then certainly and obviously no advice. So look, after hearing our presentation today, you may feel that you could use a more individualized, specialized assessment, evaluation of your specific Social Security planning strategies and how best to optimize this for you. If you do feel that way, we have made arrangements for you to receive a complimentary, free, no-cost Social Security analysis. Now, many of you are going to request our free workbook. Some of you are going to request our free analysis. Last time I checked, if this is not true, please let me know. I don't think any of you paid to be here. So, too much free stuff, right? Okay, isn't that what you're all thinking? How you doing so much free stuff? So look, let me just explain. Look, the way we view this analysis is like a sample, right? So my favorite place to go on the weekends for grocery shopping, it's not my favorite, but it's the place I usually go, Costco, right? Costco. I've got 3 kids and they're growing quickly and they're hungry, and Costco's a great place to shop when you got a growing family. So we like to go to Costco, and that's the time that we go, is on the weekends. The only redeeming quality about going to Costco on the weekends is the fact that typically, although with COVID, good grief, I mean, it's been hit and miss, and I can't even remember if they have them now or not. But I don't count on the samples anymore, let's just say it like that. But at one time, Costco would always have samples. It was the thing that you feed the kids while you're cruising through. It's good, right? So now, maybe not so much. But why do they give away samples? Why does Costco offer a sample? Well, it's not because they like giving away stuff. They do it because they hope that you try something. You say, hey, that's pretty good. I wasn't planning on buying that, but it's good stuff. I like it. Let me pick some of that up. My favorite sample is always the grass-fed beef bratwurst. Love those things. We buy them. It's a staple. It's in our freezer. So that's what they do a sample for. We kind of view our analysis like this. It is our anticipation that if you get this analysis from us, we feel that it is a very good sample of the work and the value that we are able to provide our clients to help them improve and optimize their retirement planning strategies and income planning needs, okay? So if you get this sample of our work, we believe that we'll maybe earn the right, or maybe I should say the privilege or the honor of serving you with other retirement planning or investing needs that you may have. If you think an analysis like this might be beneficial to you, let me tell you a little bit about what's inside. First of all, this analysis is specified, specific to your planning strategies and needs, okay? Mr. has started it. Mrs. is going to start hers on December of 2022. Okay, you get the idea. It's very specific planning strategies that detail out exactly what you should do and when. We'll look at multiple strategies, see which one is the best. We'll compare them side by side, a break-even analysis. If we file this way, how does it work? What about this way? Okay, looking at these different strategies and getting you the best one that fits your situation. The thing that will set our analysis apart, okay, the thing that will cause you to say, maybe you've gotten another free analysis at some point, somebody's done something for you where they put together a little strategy comparison, maybe you did a little calculator online or something like that. The thing that's going to set our analysis apart, that's going to make you say, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I did this. This really made a big difference for me. That's this part right here, okay? What you're looking at here is a screen capture of our proprietary Retirement Defender planning tool. Our Retirement Defender planning tool is a software tool that we paid a lot of money to construct, because what we need to be able to do for clients is really evaluate in great detail their retirement income, cash flow, and taxes. How is that going to play out in taxes? Good example of this is if you look here, you'll see that for this client, they have a lot of IRA assets and they need to optimize through Roth conversions. $42,350. Okay, it's not $50,000, it's not $20,000, not some, I think $30,000 might help. No, okay? Very specific. We're dealing with the IRS here. You don't mess around, okay? Very specific planning strategies, detailed down right to the penny if we need to maximize your situation. This software tool will allow us to do that. Why does this make a big difference for this client? Well, by doing those Roth conversions, we keep them out. Only 40% of benefits are being taxed, not the 85, 40%. Big time savings, very meaningful to your specific circumstances. I think you can imagine that there's only so many different ways to invest your dollars, for example, okay? Now, obviously, there's research-tested strategies, and then there's see where the wind's blowing strategies. You probably prefer research strategies. But the point is that there's only so many different ways. So I would say that one of the things that our firm brings to the table that sets us apart and puts us a notch or two above what our competition is doing out there is that if I can optimize your taxes on top of giving you a great retirement investment strategy, we might get you an extra 2% in alpha over the course of your retirement. 30-year retirement, that's an extra 60% of dollars in your pocket for maximizing not only your investment strategy, but also your cash flow and income strategies. Very important. This couple is getting a lot of value out of these tax planning strategies, not only by saving on their income taxes and reducing taxes on Social Security, but also we're able to get them an extra $700,000 in Roth IRA accounts, completely tax-free accounts. Okay, makes a big difference to them. They really they have grandchildren and children that they want to leave some dollars to. Much better to leave those dollars tax-free than to get hit by Uncle Sam. Okay, how's this going to look for you? We have to see. We have to run the analysis and see how it's going to look for you. Okay, so if you think that analysis could be very helpful to you, you're going to go to the same website to get the analysis that you go to also request the Social Security filing workbook. If you would like the Social Security filing workbook, you go to sendworkbook.com. You'll fill out the form. It'll ask for your address. Again, this is a physical copy of the workbook. We're going to mail it to you. Okay, sendworkbook.com. We're going to go to the Q&A in just a second, so hang tight. But feel free to go to that at any time and request the workbook. While you're requesting the workbook, If you want that analysis, same website, sendworkbook.com is where you're going to go to request your analysis as well. And when you're in there requesting the analysis, it's going to say questions like, do you need to coordinate your benefits with taxes, your Social Security benefits with taxes, or other forms of retirement income? You want to say yes to that if you want to get this retirement income cash flow and tax analysis. So if you're thinking, yeah, I need to get this part, this advanced planning part, then of the analysis, then yes, you need to say yes, I need to coordinate. Okay, so do that, and it'll take you through the process. Now, also, while you're in there requesting these reports, okay, again, all of this is free to you. It's our opportunity to put our best foot forward. We want to show you. We really want to wow you and make you say, wow, these folks can really help me. So that opportunity, again, is at no cost to you, okay? If we get past that point, okay, where we've delivered these free analyses and we're now in a position where you're thinking about, okay, is this group the right group to help me with my retirement planning or my retirement investing? We're a fiduciary firm, okay? We will disclose all fees and costs to you up front. Our fees and costs are less than half the national average. So if you look at the national average at 165, we're proud to say that across our firm, we average less than half that for our investment advisory fees with clients. So we're very proud of our fees. We're happy to discuss them with you in your specific circumstance, okay? So that's number one, but we'll discuss all that if you think that you might like to have us help you with other things past the free analysis. To get into that process where you're thinking about, okay, does Kyle and his team, do I want them to assist maybe with my investing or planning needs? Well, then you want to request our Retirement Defender Screening Report. So when you're going through this form and you're clicking through the boxes and you're filling it all out, you're going to be given the opportunity to request our Retirement Defender Screening Report. When you request that Retirement Defender Screening Report, that is an introduction into our retirement planning process, the first step. Because what we need to do is we need to evaluate the 7 critical areas that we can find that can derail a retirement. We need to evaluate those and see where you stand, okay? Are you in a good position? Are you dealing with these things well? Or do we need to do some work? Do we need to get you in a better spot where we can take care of you and make sure that you're not at risk for running out of money or really hurting yourself or something like that, okay? So that Retirement Defender Screening Report you do want to request if you're taking this seriously and thinking about your retirement and trying to get your plans together, okay? Now, a couple of quick things. Because we are a fiduciary firm, we want to be very transparent about a few items. My firm is City Center Financial, okay? City Center Financial and Einstein Retirement Workshops, at one time 2 separate brands. Today, City Center Financial now owns and operates, my firm owns and operates the Einstein Retirement Workshops brand. It's our educational brand. It's how we deliver these workshops to you. We have a daily podcast, that sort of thing. So that's an educational brand focused on educating and providing value to you. Speaking of which, if you've gotten great value from today's workshop, we do encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, and we'd be happy to have you interact with us further at other workshops and the podcast, the daily podcast. We'd love to see you at any of those things. So do that if you found today's workshop to be helpful. But City Center Financial does own and operate. Any advisor that you interact with through this process to get the free analysis, we are going to interact with you in a video conference setting. Part of the reason that we can offer such a great service, I would say a well above average value and service to you, while being less than half the average fee, okay, in terms of our investment advisory fees, the reason we can do that is because we don't drop brick and mortar everywhere, okay? We don't try to put an office on every street corner so that you can walk down and knock on our door and that sort of thing. Not that we wouldn't mind. I mean, you're happy to, if you ever come visit us in Michigan, we'd love to have you, okay? So let's just say it like that. But by doing that, we optimize, we stay more focused, we can cut costs down, and we pass those savings on to our clients, which we just feel is really important, especially when we're talking about safe investing strategies for retirement. Okay, we're not aiming for 20, 30% returns, trying to do a good job, consistency in our returns, consistency in how we get performance for our clients. But, we got to cut costs to try and make that happen and ensure that our clients have a good and successful retirement. So that's what that's all about. Okay, all of our advisors are fully licensed, certified, credentialed, trained by me personally. Hope you feel that that's a good thing. And you'll really enjoy meeting with them. Your first visit when you meet with our team to get your analysis together is an information gathering visit, okay? We get the final information and components and pieces so that we can deliver that high quality analysis to you. That's our goal. We want to put our best foot forward and get that analysis delivered in a meaningful and helpful way. Okay, we're going to start taking questions here in just a second, but if you haven't already gone to sendworkbook.com, I do encourage you to do that. That will give you an opportunity to get this free analysis if you would find that to be helpful. Also, make sure you request your workbook. That's the only way we send it to you, okay? We're going to put it in the mail and mail it out to you. So you request that again at sendworkbook.com. And I feel like there's one other thing I wanted to say. All of our advisors are fiduciaries. I think I covered that. We're licensed in all 50 states except New York, okay? New York doesn't like anybody from the outside, so if you happen to be here from New York, I'm sorry. But other than that, we can help you, okay? All right, let's go to questions. Okay. Jeffrey Wilson is saying, thank you, Kyle. Great presentation, very useful. Okay, good. Thank you, Jeffrey. Appreciate that. Gigi, okay. Thank you, Gigi. Appreciate that as well. Any questions? Everybody's just giving compliments. I love the compliments. Thank you. No, I do not object at all, but if you have a question, feel free to type it in. Again, sendworkbook.com if you haven't already requested. I'll still be here. You can open a new browser tab, pull it up on your phone, whatever you want to do. Just make sure you do request it. Don't forget. Okay. Okay, question from Chuck Adams. There we go. If you were born after 1954, can you receive any form of spousal benefits? The answer is no if your own benefit is more than 50% of your spouse's. The answer is yes if your own benefit is less than 50% of your spouse's. Okay, hope that answered your question, Chuck. Oh, thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. Okay, Edward is saying, if I retire at full retirement age and file for ex-spousal benefits, which are higher, will you be receiving that amount for the rest of your life? Or will the benefits get lower when he dies? No, the opposite, right? So the answer is yes, you'll receive it for the rest of your life. If he dies, probably you get a bump up to widow benefits, which would be the full amount of your ex, okay? So not lower, maybe higher. Okay, Michael is asking, how much of my Social Security will I get with a government pension? So Michael, depends on if that pension is a non-covered pension. If it's a non-covered pension, then it depends on how many years of substantial earnings you have on Social Security. I don't have all those calculations memorized, but they are in your workbook. So make sure you get your workbook. The calculations are in that book so you can figure out what you should get. Okay, Jeff says, I'm 64 and plan on working to wait until 70 to take my Social Security. Would this book be good for me to get now? Yeah, Jeff, I mean, it's certainly not going to hurt you. I mean, the book is going to help you think through, especially around tax issues. That's probably going to be the biggest deal for you. There's some tax torpedo calculations in there that you want to be mindful of. Okay, John saying, great information. I know I need help. Thanks. All right, John. Well, I hope we can help you or whoever you're going to get help from. If it's us, that's great. Okay, Inde says, very educational. Okay, good. Thank you. Sherry says, can I collect Social Security while my husband is working? Yes. So the restrictions around collecting Social Security for your own benefits apply when you have, for Social Security, apply with your own work. Okay, so W-2, 1099, self-employment for you. So if you don't have it, just your husband has it, you can collect with no problems. Michael Gray. Oh, are you asking for Sherry? The Grays are here. Thank you, Michael and Sherry. Are you guys married? Let me know. I'd enjoy that. The answer, I believe, is yes. I think I just answered that one. Okay. I have no clue what I'm doing. Thank you. I really opened my eyes. Okay, good, Kathy. Good. Okay, if you haven't already, please do go to sendworkbook.com. We'll mail you a physical copy of that workbook. Request the analysis if that's going to be helpful to you. We'd love to interact with you in that way. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook. All that good stuff. And we'd love to interact with you more. Okay, Tricia from YouTube is saying, lost you on taxes. I make just a little over $10,000 a year. Do I have to file taxes? Probably not, Tricia. Okay, so you're probably okay. So I think you'll be all right. Angel says, how do I request the book? Just sendworkbook.com. Go right into your browser, sendworkbook.com. There should be something on your chat, too, that you can tap, maybe, something like that. You're welcome, Michael. Okay, let's see here. Edward Voss says, if my wife files early at 62, can she switch at 67 to spousal benefits at that time? It's entirely based on when you file, Edward. So if your wife files early but you don't file right away and then you file later, and then the spousal becomes available, it should automatically switch. If it doesn't, you just got to contact Social Security and say, hey, supposed to get a bump up. Thanks, Dorothy. Appreciate that. Michael says, can my wife collect now? Oh, I think I answered that one. Oh, there you guys are. Yes, yep. Okay, good. Good. Thank you. You're welcome. All right. Inde says, what is the required minimum distribution for a 401k at 72? So what you do is you take your 401k balance, you divide it by, wow. Whew, it must be getting late. I have these numbers memorized, but they just flew out of my brain. It's a divisor. 26.5, 27.3. Wow. What time is it? It's only 8:30. I should be all right. All right, 27.3. You divide your balance by 27.3. So the balance on December 31st of the year prior to you turning 72, that's the amount. You divide it by 27.3, and that's what you must take in the year you turn 72. Okay? It's not a percentage or a straight amount. It's a divisor. If you want to, guesstimate the percentage, basically 3.65% in year one, but it goes up every year. Okay. Okay. Loretta Deaton. I'm 64 and thinking of retirement. Would I be better to collect widow benefits and wait for retirement age to collect my Social Security? Yeah, you might want to wait all the way until 70, Loretta. That was kind of the example we looked at. If you're getting the analysis, we'll definitely be able to help you think through that and make a good decision. If you're not, just remember, your own maximizes at 70. Widow benefits maximize at full retirement age. So I don't know if that helps with your thinking there. Okay. Yeah, Angel, no problem. So how to get the workbook is sendworkbook.com. You go right to sendworkbook.com, request it. We'll mail it out to you. Pam Holton says, I'm 64. Should I be filing for Social Security now? My husband is still working. He is the same age. What advantage would that be for us? Well, Pam, if it allows you to do maybe any extra savings, that might be helpful. If you're, needing to supplement your income that your husband's bringing in, it could be helpful. Otherwise, maybe it's not. Maybe you should delay longer. Um, you have to pay taxes on it, so that's a factor. But the main way that it would be beneficial, maybe, would be if it allows you to do more saving. Possibly that could be helpful. Okay, Trisha says, okay, yep, no problem, Trisha. Okay, Gigi says, is there a set amount we should withdraw from the 401k starting at 70? No, Gigi, and no set amount. You just need to fit it within your retirement planning needs, tax planning needs, obviously, as well. But the critical age is 70. It used to be 70 and 1/2 for the required minimum distribution. It's now 72, okay? 72 for the required minimum distribution. Okay, Carol says, during the pandemic, I was treated for pancreatic cancer. Sorry to hear that. Statistically, this will greatly reduce my life expectancy. I'm 60 now, 58 at diagnosis. Do I still use longevity tables of everybody else? I mean, no, probably not, Carol. I understand where you're coming from. It's certainly going to be it's going to play into your decision, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Okay. If you're meeting with our team to get the analysis, you just, mention that, talk through it. Okay. Our team is very good. They'll talk with you about it. Pam says, I'm retired but substitute teaching a little. Okay, so Pam, in your case, I think you were asking about filing Social Security. Obviously, for you, you need your earned income to be less than $18,960 to file for Social Security without having to deal with the earnings test. You're welcome, Angel. Okay, Joel says, can I request the workbook and then at a later time request the personalized Social Security analysis? I mean, probably, Joel. I mean, there's always a chance that we stop offering it. I don't necessarily foresee that happening, but so long as it's something we're still offering, of course. Yeah. Yeah, happy to help. Okay, David Burkhart says, at 66, should I wait until 70 and then live off of the IRAs? Oh, and live off the IRAs. Yeah, so that you heard the strategy right, David. I mean, that's one strategy that can work out well. It depends on a lot of the specifics around your situation as to whether or not that's the best strategy for you. But you understood the idea, right? Yeah, I mean, that often can work out. I mean, in your specific situation, obviously, we need to know more to answer it, but I think you heard the idea correctly. Okay, Michael, one more. When I retire with a pension, does it affect my wife if she's already collecting Social Security? So her own Social Security is not affected by your non-covered pension if that's what you have, okay? The only way it affects her is if it's her pension and either her Social Security or your Social Security. Otherwise, it doesn't affect her. Alba says, if I collect on my ex-husband's benefit, if more than half of mine, will I continue to get annual COLA increases? Yes, yes. Also, if he dies, will I continue to collect? Yes, you can also get widow benefits if he dies. Okay, no homicide, of course. Not that you would ever do that, Alba, but I just always feel I need to say that. Okay. Veronica Nunez says, I am a widow born in 1959, and I was the highest earner. Okay. Can I claim my husband's benefits at 62 and claim mine later? No, Veronica, I'm sorry, you're much too young. No one's told you that lately. Let me do that for you. As a divorced person, I asked Social Security to see how much I can get. They only gave me $40. Then I asked later and said, well, you could have gotten more, but 4 years ago you took the $40. Is that right? Maybe. I mean, I'm not really, I need to know some more details, but maybe. It could be right. Sorry. Oh, man. Okay. Angel says, I need a consultation. I'm a registered nurse. I have accumulated a huge amount of money through tax-deferred accounts and work with the state and city, and I need help. I have great savings. Help. Well, Angel, I hope you're getting the book and requesting the analysis. We can help you, okay? If you need to sit down with somebody, not over video conference face to face, but where you can grab their hand, you should really find somebody that can do this for you. But if we're the right group to help you, I hope that you're requesting the analysis. Again, when you're requesting the workbook at sendworkbook.com, just go through that, say yes to the analysis. Yes, I need to coordinate with other retirement assets and that sort of thing. Request the Retirement Defender Screening Report. We'll get you in. We'll work with you. We can help you out. Okay. Oh no, you live in New York. Oh my God, everything I just said. Oh, well, you can request all the stuff, but the problem with New York is New York regulates everything differently than the rest of the country. And so I'm sorry to say, we're just not going to get, look, if you request the analysis and all that, I don't know where you are in New York, but there's a very small chance we might be able to make arrangements to help you out. But, make sure maybe I should say this, Angel. If you call our number, 248-275-5903, you'll probably talk to either Morgan or Nicole, would be my guess. And when you call in, tell them that I made, a special statement right to you that because you live in New York, that there's a small chance we might be able to help you out, and ask to speak with me. If they try to protect my time, okay? So just don't be offended. They will try to protect my time, but tell them that I told you that I would talk with you. So, okay. So let them know all that. They'll come talk to me and say, it's Angel from New York. And tell them to say that, and I'll remember you, and then I'll call you and talk with you and see if we can make arrangements to help you. But yeah, New York is the only state we don't typically do business in. Okay? All right. Joel says, thank you. Okay, good. Okay, Lisa, 59, never married, and recently started taking my retirement through TCRS, Tennessee Consolidated Retirement Systems, with 26 years teaching experience. When should I start taking Social Security? Well, it depends on other factors. I mean, obviously the earliest is going to be 62, but it depends, right? What are your other retirement strategies? Is there tax planning that we should be doing? There's other factors, but it's going to depend on your specific circumstances, Lisa. You're welcome, Sherry. Okay, I'm starting to wear out. So I'll take a couple more questions here, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, Jeff says, for the Zoom meeting, will we get a list of what we need to have on hand for the meeting to assist with the analysis? I would hate for yes. Yeah, Jeff, we send you a list of recommended items that you should bring to that meeting. Yeah, so no problem. Okay, Dorothy says, if one waits till 70 to file for Social Security, will he or she receive the benefit of $2,470, or is it based on the annual salary prior to 70? Social Security will be based on the highest 35 years of indexed earnings. That's the only factor. It doesn't have anything to do with recent earnings or anything like that. Will this presentation be recorded? Yeah, it's up for a little while longer, or you can join next week. Okay. Oh, good, Angel. All right. Yep. Look forward to talking with you soon. Okay, Inde says, if I take some distribution in my 401k at 70, am I required to do the required minimum distribution when I turn 72? Well, it depends on if you still have money in there at 72. If you take it all out at 70, then no. But if you still have some in there, yeah, of the balance, you divide it by 27.3. Grandkids running around. Okay, no problem, Teresa. Yeah, it usually stays up for about 12 hours, and then we do this weekly, so we'd love to see you again. In Brooklyn. Okay, okay, Angel. Yeah, yeah, there's a chance. All right, we'll talk to you soon. You got it. Okay. All right, I'm thinking about rolling. I see there's only one left after this. So Ed Colling G on YouTube, you're the last one. Sorry if anybody else puts one in, but I'm wearing down. I got to get home. All right. So if you haven't already gone, two more questions. I'll answer these two. But sendworkbook.com. Do request that workbook. Be happy to get it to you and get your analysis if that's going to be helpful. We'd enjoy interacting with you in that way. Again, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow our Facebook page, and we'll look forward to seeing you at future events. Last two questions. Jeanette says, I'm thinking about rolling over my traditional IRA to a Roth IRA. Would this be a good move? It's just a taxable event, Jeanette, so don't do it with both eyes open. Make sure you know exactly how much tax you're going to pay. Should you spread it out over a few years? Do it all in one shot? I mean, these are questions that, if you're getting the analysis, our team can help you with, okay? Okay, Ed is the last question. Good stuff. Taxes are scary. Yes, sorry. Can you take a 401k and take payment and deposit in an IRA tax-free? Yes, you can roll over a 401 to an IRA totally tax-free. That's not a problem. Okay, thanks everybody. Enjoyed it. Great questions tonight. Really enjoyed our time together. Look forward to seeing you at future events or workshops or podcasts. We'd love to interact with you in the future. And with that, we'll say good night. Bye-bye.